Hello, welcome. Dr. Sushma Singh this side. Today in Unit 9, the household and the family, we are continuing our topic perspectives on the family. The cognitive character acknowledged in the descent principle translates into social, symbolic, reproductive, and material rights and entitlements at most stages in a person's life in the family, both in matrilineal as well as patrilineal society. The impact of this on reproduction is studied by Dyson and Morey, Basu for related dimensions of autonomy through the life cycle approach. C. Patel, a somewhat different understanding of the contribution of genders is found in communities operating the alliance principle. The household as a structure of consciousness, its priority over individual interest translates into everyday life forms. Love as a holistic emotion in society, not merely erotic or conjugal, is a fresh insight into family relationship. Dubé and Glirgan provide a different voice regarding the social reproduction of gendered being in the context of socialization in the family. The ideology of care lends itself into a heavier burden of care on women in the family. At the state legislation level, welfare programs are critiqued. Now let us move to the next point, cooperative conflict perspective. We have seen above that the 1960s was a watershed in the history of family studies. It was discovered that love, conjugality, and oppression coexist in the family alongside unequal gender relations. The post-war development project came under the critical scrutiny when feminist economists pointed out the futility of some of the assumptions of economic theory applied on the family as a unit of the analysis in the state policies and development programs. The dialectical relationship at family level, rather than viewing the family a safe haven in the unkind world or as an institution on the verge of breakdown, need to be seriously explored. We shall see the cooperative conflict perspective in Unit 11 in a greater detail. Now let us conclude the unit. In this unit, we have learned about the institution of family. It is a unique institution since it has both a private as well as visibly public characteristics at one and the same time. Family is more or less a universal institution since most of us all over the world belong to a family. The very visible and commonplace presence of the family gives the impression that it can be understood by anyone and is rather a soft subject in society or vice versa. Research on family, therefore, is full of constraints as it also deals with sensitive details. However, traditionally the family has been considered to be significant, and social philosophers throughout history have attempted to understand its nature. We learned about the meaning of the terms family and household and their interlinkages with marriage and kinship. Family has been broadly described as the primary group comprising husband-wife unit and their children. Household is a residence shared by a family or a part of the family. The family is based on the principles of kinship, and its members usually share a common residence, which is called a household. A brief description about the large joint families as described in the Hindu epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata has been given. The ideal type of joint family as described by these epics is greatly admired by most Hindu in the family in the India. Notions of filial piety, that is the relationship between the father and the son, is held in high estimation. Ramayana is the ideal for people to emulate as filial ties are underscored over conjugal ties. We learned that the two kinship links between the parent-child and siblings are found to exist in reality in various permutations and combinations. It is in this manner that one can distinguish between nuclear, elementary, and joint extended families. Research on the family in India has adopted different approaches. Like any knowledge of a cultural reality, family research has also been conducted from different points of view. In this unit, we have learned about the textual view of the family as well as the field view. The research on family has a history of nearly 3 decades, from 1950s onward in sociology and social anthropology, both in the West and in India. Goody's influence on family studies took some time to influence studies of the family in India, but empirical studies of the family continued to be under the influence of the basic difference between the Oriental and Occidental types of the family. This typecast remained a given fact. However, the notion of the domestic group as well as developmental cycle of the household provided a processual view of the family, which brought the lived reality of the family structure and composition closer to sociological scrutiny. We learned about the contributions of the Indian sociologist and social anthropologist in the field of the family and kinship studies. There has been an overwhelming interest in family studies. It was only next to caste in significance at the time of the emergence of sociology and social anthropology in India. The effect of liturgical and legal text continued to linger in studies of the joint family and the changes therein. The overlap of the ideal normative and behavioral with that of value and fact in family studies continued until the concept of the household as a heuristic device rescued the sociology of family. In this unit, the in-depth description of household and its development, providing the processual aspect of the domestic group, has been critically analyzed. The pattern of the developmental cycle in each society is affected by 3 major factors such as demographic factors, series of explicitly stated norms regarding residence of different relatives in a household and the interpersonal relations of the members. The processes of fusion and fission have been explained. The myth of the disintegration of the joint family is related to the evolutionary thesis that the joint family characterized industrial societies while joint families were characterized of feudal Asiatic societies. Most sociologists have studied the patrilineal form of family. However, some studies, for example, of Nayars of Kerala, have focused on the matrilineal family. The joint family in South India, particularly among the Nayars who were matrilineal, did not resemble the textual and scriptural family of the Indian liturgical text. Both the matrilineal as well as the patrilineal families of South India differed from those of the patrilineal joint family of North India. In this unit, the changes in the family structure have been described. Family has been viewed as the workshop of kinship and marriage norms and practices. Societal and structural changes have influenced the family size and structures. We read about the feminist scholars' skeptical views on the family after the second wave of feminism in 1960s. Finally, the brief outline of different sociological perspectives has been provided to us in the unit. There are the functionalist perspective, the conflict perspective, which included the feminist view of the family, the cultural perspective, and the cooperative conflict perspective. In the next unit, we will learn further about household as a cooperative conflicting unit. Here we want to close this lecture and we have come to the end of the unit. Thanks for listening.